What's up, Mayank? I think we're live.
What's up, man? Bro, we haven't started the intro today. Today we jumped right into the live.
We haven't played the intro. Yeah, I don't know why it's not playing for me. So we're just gonna have to do this episode without the intro, I guess. Weird, not playing.
Cool. What's up, folks? Welcome to Whiteboard Live.
What's up, folks? To people joining in, welcome. This is Whiteboard Live. Are we lagging, Mayank?
A bit, yeah. What's up, bro?
What's up? What's up? Is our stream working? We have.
Yeah, it's working now.
Okay, awesome. Welcome, everybody. It's Thursday. We're here for Whiteboard Live. Started off with a little rocky start, but here we are. Good to see you all. I want to see some chats. What's up? How's everyone doing? What's up, Mayank? How's your week been?
Man, it's been deep because for every live, before every live, I'm like, okay, we're going to be progressing with our Whiteboard website, but we're finally done with the designs. Going to be jumping into Webflow henceforth. So it's been good that way. Also, a lot of the IPL seasons there. So for someone who didn't watch much of IPL, I've started watching a lot too. So that's happening as well.
Very interesting that both of us somehow are related to the IPL, which is
Yeah.
Cred and Unacademy both are sponsoring this time, which is somebody was messaging me the other day. I think it was somebody on the cohort saying that it must be weird to hear this. Oh, it's an Unacademy sixer. Like,
Yeah, an
I
academic
had no clue.
and yeah,
Like, I haven't watched the match yet. I had no clue that was happening.
true. What's up with you, man? How's it going? Like I know
Good, man.
everything
It's been a
about
nice
the
week.
cohort too. What apart from that?
It's been a nice week, man. I feel like productivity in general sort of comes in these waves. So, like, sometimes, and I feel like you just have to ride the wave
Yeah.
rather than try to make things really perfect. So, for me, a couple weeks in the past, it was sort of on this downtrend where it was not too much new stuff, but it was just keeping steady with what was going on. And now I sort of feel like um, I feel like investing in some productivity systems, like actually, like for example, for the first time in a while, my calendar now is actually super useful to me,
Nice.
right? Which is I used to look at people. Uh, this is more common at bigger companies, maybe not really at startups, but at bigger companies, there's this idea of there's a big calendar culture, which is you have to actually block time on your calendar to say, hey, this is when I'm going to be working. So don't disturb me during this
Yeah.
time. And then people sort of can take over your time by booking time on your calendar. So personally, I never really got into the whole calendar thing, managing time using systems like that. But now that there is so much going on, which is, for example, Tuesdays and Thursdays is when I have my building a second brain cohort, Just waking up at 6 in the morning. 6:30 is the class. About 2 hours every morning starts with that. Not every morning, but those 2 mornings start with that. Then we've got two cohort sessions, which is Wednesdays and Saturdays. And then we've also have Whiteboard, which is Thursday night. And then now as well, there's a lot of scheduling stuff happening, which is scheduling with our mentors, scheduling their guest sessions that they're going to be
Yeah.
taking. So it's been going good. And I have this, I don't know if we'll reveal it right now, but there's this another new project coming up other than just the Whiteboard website.
Yeah.
And this is going to be related to the YouTube channel. So a bunch of stuff happening in that area.
It's going to be fun, man. So for all those who are looking forward to the YouTube channel, comment ABNUX OP. Let's do that. Let's see more engagement.
So Mayank, can we quickly post on our Discord and everything that this thing is started?
Sure.
I don't think we did that. And let me also post on my Instagram. Let me get a few people coming in. Okay, here we go. Instagram story. People who are watching in the chat, if you want to be in my Instagram story, now's your chance. Hey, Mayank and I are going live on whiteboard.fm. Check the link out. Swipe up if you want to watch. Okay, Mayank. So this is going to be a very interesting episode also because we've been building this up. This is a part 3 episode in some ways.
Yeah.
And it's very interesting because everybody who's watching, they've sort of been seeing the progress, the sort of build up. So what can we expect from tonight's session?
So tonight we're going to be showing the final design that we have finalized on. And after this, we're going to be working on Webflow. So the next session that you might see will either be a regular Whiteboard live session or it will be the website launch. Mostly, yeah, it could go either way. It depends on how things go.
Nice. And I think what we can probably do is next live session for sure, we are going to be launching the newsletter. I think the newsletter is something that will probably start much before the website would.
Nice. That'll be great, man.
Yeah.
Because by that time, we'll have a lot of people who will be interested in the newsletter, and we'll also get a way to iterate before the launch. By the time the launch is there, and when we're integrating the newsletter with the platform itself, it'll be a much better experience.
Yeah. Okay, so before we get started, I want to see some comments as well, which is what we're going to do in this session is we're going to do a little bit of a Q&A as well, which is you've been watching our progress, you've been watching us design, and so far it's been, seeing how we do stuff. But now what we also want to do is in this session, we want to do some question and answers, which is I want you to ask us questions like, hey, why did you do that? Or in your process, why did you do things this way? Or questions that you have related to your own design process, whenever it's been, whether it's designing apps, websites. Let's make this session a Q&A session, and we'll use some of the examples from this website to give some of these answers.
Let's do that.
Yeah.
Cool, folks. Drop your questions, and we'll be answering them, giving the example of the process that we use when designing the website.
So what we're going to do now, give me 1 second, is we're going to get screen sharing in the next 2 minutes. So let's wait for a couple of questions. Meanwhile, let me set something up. Does this give you a hint to what the next project is? Okay, so I don't see any chats, but I think we're probably ready to proceed. So Mayank, you want to start screen sharing?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's quickly recap. Let's recap what the first two sessions have been, and then we'll show you what is new since we've last spoken.
Cool.
Okay, your screen is
Yeah.
sharing now. Let's
So
do it.
our first session was planning and brainstorming for the Whiteboard.fm website. And in that, we started off with researching by comparing the different podcasts that are out there. So that started with checking out different podcasts such as the Design Better podcasts, Layout, Roots, Design Details, Yo, Design Matters, Inside Intercom, Design Blind Date by Ransigal, Overtime Podcast by Dribble, UX Research FM, Design Life, Spotify, and different platforms. Basically, it was comparing how other podcasting platforms show their content. After that, we did another kind of research where we were not just comparing different podcasts, but also checking out other content platforms in terms of how are they getting more viewers or getting people to subscribe to the newsletter, or how are they selling their product per se, like the Designership Pro plan, the Designership Community, the Dan Petty Portfolio Book, Visualize Value, Circle, an iteration of 10K designers. And then we did a third kind of research, which is that we were comparing how there are other like people are doing very similar things to what we are doing, and how do they stand out, right? So a couple of those, them being the Tim Ferriss Show, Mixergy, Noah Kagan, Forte Labs, Neville Medora, and Rookie Design, and Nathan Barry. And what I really liked about these is that why they stand out from the previous two researchers is because they have kind of incorporated both the first and second research, is that they are showing their content, and they're also getting users or getting people interested in buying it and also selling it as well. And I really like how, so for example, one thing which I really liked from Mixergy is how for their podcast, and this is something which I've not seen anywhere else, is that they have an option when you scroll at the bottom that if you want to suggest someone for an interview, which is something I really liked at the last minute. And I was like, man, this is something which should be used, or at least like that way we'll get more suggestions in terms of what do the viewers want to see or what they are looking for. So, and then while the next phase after planning and brainstorming, that is our previous live session, in that we started designing, right? We decided what we want to design, and we started forming our goals, information architecture, and started iterating. So I'll come to that screen. So in research, in our eye, we realized that our goals were to unify all our content in one place. That is, Whiteboard.fm right now is available on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube. And we wanted everyone to, instead of going to those platforms, we wanted them to come to this one place. That is our website. Discoverability of guests and topics, browse by topic, company, guest type, investing in long-term SEO. We want to make sure that the next time someone Googles about Whiteboard.fm or about any of the guests or their work, the top search, the Whiteboard.fm website comes in the top search results. And we also, and like I mentioned earlier, we wanted to reduce dependence on external platforms. The ideas were to create a landing page and create a repository of all our content online instead of relying on external platforms like YouTube, Spotify. Having a separate page for each clip, episode, and profiles of the guests. and also being able to browse by factors such as the companies that they've interned at, the kind of domains that they've worked in. For example, healthcare, food delivery, B2C, B2B, SaaS, and so on and so forth. Newsletter is what we discussed at the beginning of this live as well, is that we want to share exclusive content and give updates and also share transcripts of our previous interviews and also upcoming interviews for those who are interested and sign up to our newsletter. And then setting up processes for this, because right now, whenever an episode is uploaded or an interview is uploaded, we share it on multiple platforms. That is Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, our 10K designers cohort and community Discord, and so on and so forth. And then we also had to plan how editing would happen, because if we are uploading an episode on Monday, we wouldn't be editing it on a Sunday and then upload it on all the platforms and the website. There needs to be a particular process in place for that. And then we moved on to our wireframing in terms of how do we structure all of this in terms of the information. And which is how we came to the conclusion that we would have primarily 3 pages on our website. Okay, primarily 4. Our landing page, that is our home page, our collections page, our articles page, and a profile page. So a collection page would consist of multiple articles. For example, for episodes, a collection page of episodes would show all the episodes, and on selecting one particular episode, it would lead to that article page. And this is a process how people would reach the website, that whenever we are sharing on social media platforms, you would be sharing the link of the website henceforth, not the link of YouTube or Spotify or any other platform. And from the website, people would be able to listen or watch the video based on whatever platform they prefer. The article page would have the following information, that is a title, thumbnail, description, YouTube embed, Spotify, Apple and Google podcast embeds, transcripts, and categories. It would be filled with rich information such that, and this would help us in SEO as well, because now we have almost around 100 clips and there would be 100 pages. So that would kickstart our SEO growth a lot. Similarly, we decided what information we would have for our profile page. That is the name, photo, URL, external URL, description, and what the structure of our pages would be like. So for example, this would be was a rough structure of our article page. That is, we would have the profile, the thumbnail of the main video, information about the guest, the YouTube and Spotify embeds, links to their social media and their work, outline and transcript, which would be our rich information, newsletter, and footer.
One thing that's very interesting to note here, sorry to interrupt, Mayank,
Sure.
is that you notice that there is so much that happens before the actual design happens, which is one of the very common things that I hear from new designers, is that when they're designing something, they reach a point where they get stuck. Either this is when you're designing a particular screen, a particular feature, and then you're unable to sort of move forward. Now, typically, in majority of the cases, in like 90-95% of all cases, the reason for this is that there is a step that precedes the step you're currently at, which is it's before. Either that's information architecture or it's the wireframe. And as part of this step, you've skipped certain crucial information, which is, if you see here, before we even decided, like let's say the wireframe for this page, we were sort of figuring out what will this include, which is what are these data points? What is the information that is going to be shown on this page? So figuring out all the pages that exist so that you have a mental picture of, okay, this is how big the site is. These are the pages I will need to design in the future. And then figuring out for each page, maybe in priority as well, what is the information to be shown. Now imagine if you didn't do this and you postponed this for later, which is you directly maybe jumped into Figma to design. What happens then is that The reason you'll feel stuck is because there's so many possibilities. If you haven't decided what to put on the page, you're going to be like, should I do this or should I do that? There is this possibility, but then there's also another possibility that exists. And the point is, when you're at a visual design stage, which is later in your process, trying out these decisions, trying out different options gets a little slower, which is right now, if you look at Mayank's wireframes, for him to make multiple wireframes on paper at this stage is fast, which is it takes maybe 5 minutes to do it. But creating this entire website on Figma will take you at least 30-40 minutes if you want to create 2 versions. And it's very simple. If something takes 30-40 minutes, you're probably not going to do 10 of them, which is like 400 minutes, couple of hours. You might do maybe 2 or 3 at max. Versus when you're at a wireframe stage, you can actually try out 10 options. And if you have tried out 10 options in the wireframe stage, when you're finally designing your visuals in Figma, you know what the possibilities are. So if one thing doesn't work, you immediately know what to try next because you've already explored the options earlier. I hope that makes sense. Leave some comments if that is something that resonates with you, something that you've come across in your design process as well. Yeah, Mayank, go on. Let's do this.
Cool. So as we discussed in the first 2 live sessions, we came up with our research. And then as I explained about the articles and collections page, after this, I started segregating our research into articles, collections, and our landing, that what research would be helpful for what page. For example, these how different creators were selling their platforms was helpful for me in deciding how I wanted to design my landing page. And how on seeing the layout of different podcast platforms and seeing how they are showcasing their episodes, their interviews and their clips and so on and so forth, I categorized all of them into the collections page, that these were inspirations for a collection page. And then for each newsletter or blog that is there, for example, in Mixergy, this blog article, same thing for Noah Kagan and Forte Labs, Nev blog. All of these were very similar to what I wanted to do for my articles page. And so I categorized, after researching, I started categorizing them into what kind of research was helpful for which page I was looking forward to. And this was something I did while I was working on my iterations. Now, as you can see, like Abhinav mentioned, it takes time. If you don't have your wireframes, it can take 30 to 40 minutes when you're comparing 2 things. And here I did, like, one thing I do admit is that I tried to do less number of iterations because to optimize the time. And there were moments when Abhinav was like, bro, let's do more iterations. And I was just trying to keep them at a minimum and try to make the changes in itself. But yeah, so I'll just give a walkthrough of my iterations as well. I started with the landing pages. Then I started on the collections page.
You want to turn up the opacity a little bit?
Sure. Cool. Yeah, so I started iterating on the landing page, that is our home page. And while I was iterating, I was trying out different layouts on how the information could be structured. And while I was working on my homepage, I also realized, now this is where the research helped. It was in terms of knowing what things I could use as selling points in terms of getting attention of the users and getting them interested. This is the seasons page you can see here was my iteration of trying to design a collections page, after which I realized that this was not the best way. So I tried more iterations. So this is one of the iterations. This is also a collection page. This is the article page. I was trying different layouts in terms of embeds, But then one thing I realized is that the best way to try how things look is also to check how they look on the platform itself. For example, I was trying to make things fancy in terms of the video embed, but I realized that YouTube embeds don't look like this. So the best way to try and see how it would look in real life would be to copy paste an image of how a video actually looks when you're embedding it. Same thing for platforms such as Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts as well. This design does not work. There is a different embed that is there that is provided by the platform itself. So these were my iterations. Further on, I kept working on the collections page and the articles page in iterations, and then I worked on the iterations of the profile page as well. Now, one thing that while I was designing here was also that it looked a lot like a feed, which is not something that we wanted to do. We wanted it to look like a curation of information that is there for each guest and each episode for anyone who comes to the website. And one iteration that I also did here for these pages is that for layouts, right? I tried different layouts for every guest. So not for every guest, but for every article or for the block of information that is there. As you can see, I tried the vertical layout, I tried a horizontal layout, I tried different types of paddings just to figure out what works the best. And then we come to the main visual design. That is what our final website is going to look like. So this is our homepage.
So Mayank, you wanna mirror this? Let's mirror this in your browser, and then let's go through these pages.
Let's do it. Cool. Cool, folks. So this is what our final design looks like. It's not on Product Hunt yet. That button is just a design, just a heads up. It's just an image. So this is what our homepage looks like. That you can discover upcoming design and product folks from top companies. We've got hiring processes, case study walkthroughs, weekly live streams, like the one we're doing right now. We've got experiences from all the design and product folks from all around the world and from all those who are a part of these companies. And then you meet the team. That's Abhinav and me. And then here we give the option to subscribe to our newsletter for future updates, early access to interviews, live streams, and whatever we consider plan henceforth as a terms of our lead magnet. So this is what the homepage would look like. And from here, if you want to go to the episodes page. Now, episodes page or the clips page, these pages are our collections page. That is, it's a curation of all the content that pertains to that particular category. So here we show the thumbnail, we show the name of the guest, the duration and the date it was uploaded, and then the description. And with every episode, with every item that's a part of the collection, we go to the articles page. And the articles page is a deep dive with rich information about that particular article of that particular collection. So for example, this is an article page regarding Ansh's interview, where there is a YouTube embed, a Spotify embed. Now, one thing that you've noticed is how I've used the final image of how it would actually look, how a YouTube embed would actually look, and how a Spotify embed would actually look. We give the option to subscribe to the podcast and listen on the other podcast platforms as well. about the guest with a view profile CTA, which would be our separate profile page that we've created for every guest. And then our outline and transcripts, along with suggestions, that is recommended clips and interview episodes related to the guest. And then in the end, we are nudging the user that if you're interested, you can sign up to our newsletter. We've done the similar thing for clips. We'll be doing this for anywhere we have a lot of content, right? A similar thing would be done for the tags that you saw in the earlier pages as well. That if you select B2C, you would show more on B2C and you would show our collection. So every video has its article page and they all belong to multiple collections. And then this is our profile page of the guest, where we would be showcasing them and their work and their relation to Whiteboard.fm by showcasing their social media links, about them. We share their clips and episodes and their work outside of Whiteboard as well. The work which they have showcased has been mentioned in the clips, and what they haven't showcased on Whiteboard.fm will still be available on the platform so that people can read their work and see their work easily instead of searching for it externally. And then we recommend other interviews and clips. So that's it, folks. What do you guys think? Drop your reaction in the comments. Tell us what you think.
Awesome, man. Awesome. I think it's been really cool to see a lot of these iterations, which is over the past three, this is the third one, the past three live streams, we've sort of been seeing the same page, but you can sort of see what these small differences are.
Yeah.
But how individual items have kept changing. And technically, what's cool about the fact that this is documented right now, that once this is out in Webflow, there's certain things which are going to change again. There's certain things that you see in this design that when we're developing, we come up with, like, let's say, a better idea. Or while we're doing something, we're like, okay, like, this is another variation we can try. So that just reinforces this idea that whenever you're designing software, whenever you're designing apps, websites, digital products, the process is never complete, which is design is never over. Even after we have this design, this is just the start. Like, the next thing would be to actually bring this to life, which is to actually code this in Webflow. Because you can see this on YouTube right now, but the real test of whether the design will be good or whether it'll serve the goals that we had outlined very early on in the process. The real test would be once it's actually out, once you can actually use it.
Definitely, man. Like what I explained to you guys as well, to all those who are watching, like while I was designing, I realized that, hey, I could categorize my research even more. That not just in terms of the kinds of research I did, but also how I could use them for the particular pages. And you guys might not know this, right? Like, you guys don't know this, but like 10 minutes before our live stream, I added the suggest our guest CTA, because I was thinking that this is a really good thing which we could use, that we could take suggestions from you folks, that who all are you guys, whose story would you like to get to know about, and whose work do you want to explore more, and the topics that you want to know more about.
Yeah, for sure. Let's do a quick chat activity right now. I see a question here from Nero who says, what's the primary font use? I want people in the chat to guess what it is. We're not going to reveal it right now.
Yeah.
If you had a sharp eye, maybe you figured it out. Maybe you were able to identify it. But can you guess what our primary font is? Mayank, you want to open the page? Maybe let's let people look at it. Maybe you can open it in Miro, actually.
It's open in Mirror, bro.
Okay.
I'll scroll so that people can get a better idea.
Yeah.
By the way, the same font has been used for all whiteboard thumbnails as well.
And for our logo too.
True. Yeah.
Let's see some guesses. Our first guess is from Sagar. Sen. I'm not sure if that's a font, but nope, that is not it. Let's pick up another. Montserrat. I'm seeing a few examples of that. Do you agree or disagree? Is this Montserrat or not? Let me quickly see in the comments. Let me go through some of the other ones. Avenir is another guess here. I see a few more Montserrat. Inter, that's another. Montserrat and Nexa. Worksons. Worksons is what we use for the paragraph copy. So you are right about that. But it is a different typeface for the headings. Chetan says,
No freaking way.
Montserrat.
It's Montserrat.
Gilroy is another suggestion. It's a good guess. Yeah. Termina is another. No, it's not Termina.
It's not Termina.
Is what we use for the 10K Designers website. We didn't use the same thing here though. IGTV font. I'm not sure what the IGTV font is. Carla is a good example. I think Carla comes quite close because if I remember correctly, Carla does have rounded edges as well. But come on, we need some typography pros in the chat right now. Sagar says, Chetan, you have to guess this one. Okay, so we're gonna leave it open for a couple more seconds, so about 30 to 60 seconds. Final answers. People who get this right, I'll go through the chats and I'll tell you who all got it right. Comic Sans. Yeah. Coming close. It's not Comic Sans though. Okay. Are you guys ready for the reveal? Are you guys ready for what? We're going to reveal this right now. No more 5 minutes. This is actually, I mean, it's a difficult one for sure. But a lot of you actually did get the answer right.
Yeah.
It is Montserrat. It is Montserrat. So congrats to the people who got it right. Let me see who was the first one to get it. Let me see. I think Nikita was the first one to get it. Pooja got this right as well. Yash, Jasil. Few more people, I think, got it. Nero got this right. Montserrat alternatives. Yes, that is what it is. So, Mayank, you want to actually open up Figma?
Yeah. I'll show the subtle trick that we have.
Oh, so you might not know this, but there are Montserrat alternatives that exist. So the way you can do this is Mayank will show you how right now. And this is technically something you can do with a lot of typefaces. A bunch of typefaces do have these alternate versions. So what you see here on top, that's standard Montserrat, right? This is very easy to recognize. But duplicating this here, we're sort of giving away our secret.
So this is Montserrat versus Montserrat. So this is the original Montserrat that you guys can see. And this is the stylistic Montserrat that we have.
Yeah. So people slightly, just about slightly mind blown. Yeah. Cool. We're going to answer a couple questions now about the process from from the chat. I'm going to start with one of these questions, which was about a certain section, I think. Yeah, let's start with this one. So, what's the reason for not adding anything about the recent 10K cohort on the first page? So, the main reason for this, um, the main reason I can tell you for this is that Whiteboard is a part of 10K Designers. So Whiteboard as a product, as a YouTube channel, as all of this, all the initiatives that we're doing is definitely a part of 10K Designers, but it is different in some sense, which is with Whiteboard, we're focusing on a certain type of content. They're very closely related, but then the purpose of Whiteboard at this point with this website is not really to sell you this idea of the masterclass. It's not really to convert users into masterclass users, because to be honest, every single cohort we take about 30-40 people and we get a couple of hundred applications. So if you notice the goals of this project that we initially outlined in the Figma, there was no goal to actually drive traffic to 10K designers. Now, that doesn't mean that it won't be a goal in the future, which is at some point we might want to do that, maybe as masterclass scales or if things change for whatever reason. But for now, the main goal is to have all this content in one place and
It's
not
the
really
same thing as
get.
how we are not selling 10K masterclass on booklets on any other entity as well. It's just that how 10K is the superset and it has all these entities of itself, that is booklets, whiteboard, community, so on and so forth. So you could access whiteboard from the 10K designers community, but it's not going to be cross selling.
Yeah. So in fact, a lot of the bonus content that a little bit we have done already, a little bit we are going to do. We have been doing this in some of the alumni groups, which is like the Discord communities that we have,
Yeah.
where we try to give early access. Some of the things that we're testing out with Whiteboard, we will be giving first access to cohort members. So that way, it is very closely related, which is there's definitely it's they're both in the similar space, but the main reason it comes down to is there's no it doesn't tie in with the goals yet. Let's take a few more questions, Mayank. Um, let's see. Okay, let's take this one by Devanjan, which is
Design products which don't clash with the developers.
mm,
So that's the best part about Webflow as well, right? Is that you're the designer, and when you're developing, you know what breaks and what works, which is why you would not have that clash. Also, if you're in a place situation where you cannot develop, so you sit with a developer while you're working on things, and you keep asking while you're designing whether this is possible or not, so that you don't have to go backwards and redo things once you're done and doing the handoff of your project to the developer.
true. So the solution in general, one of the solutions is this, which is if
Design.
you are the designer and the developer, which is something you can definitely do with tools like Webflow. It's become very easy for designers to also pick up web development as a skill without going too deep into the code aspects of web development. But in general, when you are working with developers, communication is probably the best way, which is instead of giving the designs at the end of your process when everything is finalized, you involve them in the process and show them intermediate steps so that they're not surprised in the end. Let's talk a little bit about this point here, just Keshav's question, which is how important is a newsletter to this kind of initiative? What would you say, Mayank?
So I feel it is it's what we discussed in our previous live. It's like it's a lead magnet, right? One purpose is that it's a lead magnet. It gets people to come to Whiteboard.fm or keep themselves engaged with Whiteboard.fm. Such the second thing is retention. That is the existing viewers that we have. For example, Whiteboard.fm right now has 1.9 K subscribers, right? But we do not know if all 1.9K subscribers are engaging with our channel constantly. So what the purpose of the newsletter would also be is that we would get continuous engagement of our existing subscribers or existing viewers with the platform, that they would be going back and forth and not just watch a couple of episodes and then not come back for a longer period of time.
Yeah. I mean, another way you can think about this, Keshav, is when you're building something like, let's say, Whiteboard.fm, which is you're primarily distributing on YouTube and then these podcasting platforms. YouTube right now is the primary one. That's why most people watch it at the moment. You are, in some sense, limited to what these algorithms decide, which is a certain episode of Whiteboard.fm will be shown in your feed based on certain parameters that YouTube decides for you. And a lot of times, you might miss out on content that you actually meant to watch, but then maybe you were watching more music videos in that week, or you were watching a certain type of content, and now your algorithm totally changes and you lose out. And very easy to forget also. So with a newsletter, it's almost a way to make this a little bit more direct, which is we're able to send out, let's say, a weekly digest that says, hey, in case you missed out, this was our main episode this week. These were some points that we discussed. These are the clips that came out. Any links that might be, important to know. Just so that we're doing our best to distribute our own content. That's one of the main reasons for this.
Right. Do you see any more questions?
We can take this one. Vaibhav's question.
Can we get to see the design system for this project? So, Vaibhav, we are not at that stage where we need a design system. Design systems are used at really large companies which have multiple design teams, hundreds of designers, and they need to make sure that their design is consistent, which is why design systems come into place. But here there's just the two of us.
Yeah.
So, no.
Yeah. So you have to think about at what stage a design system is usually needed. It would be an over-optimization. Let's start at one end of this. It would be an over-optimization if you did a design system for a personal project, which is definitely you can make it. It'll make things neater. And you can maybe include in your case study saying I did it. But nobody's going to use that design system. And you know how everything is arranged. So it might make things a little bit easier for you. But then you could spend your time doing something else at that point. Let's say when it scales up from a single person to a little bit more, which is you have, let's say, 3 designers on the team. At this point, you don't need a full-fledged design system, but what you need is some system, which is usually something like a style guide. Because now that you have multiple designers working on it, there will be inconsistencies. Just people might do certain things differently. So at this point, a style guide is useful to figure this out. The reason we hear so much about design systems, if you pay close attention to it, is it's from bigger companies. You won't hear typically design system from smaller companies or startups, but you'll hear it from a company like Airbnb, Facebook, InVision, Microsoft, Uber. And these are companies that literally have hundreds of designers. When I say hundreds, I actually mean it's in the 3 digits, sometimes in the 4 digits. At that point, a design system is actually a very different beast. It's not just a style guide. You have dedicated people working on design systems, maintaining these design systems. And these design system managers are also now responsible for helping other designers figure out what existing components fit best for their particular project that they're working on. So to give you a simple answer, there is no design system for this. In fact, I don't even think we use components for this. Everything you see in the Figma file, that's all that there is. I hope that answers your question. I don't see any others. I see a few more. For example, are we going to change the colors of the page? Not
That is
really.
what we were thinking of while we were iterating, but then we realized that no, it would be a lot of effort, and also uh, purple and purplish blue is our brand color for Whiteboard. And like if you see the homepage layout and the structure, it is similar to 10K designers as well, the website, because that's the branding approach that we're taking. Since all of them are one belong to one big superset, we're trying to go with that approach, that purplish blue would be. So I'll show in the design, right? The landing page has the purplish blue color, that is the brand color, after which we are kind of reducing the color as we move to subsequent pages. That here I've added a gradient and added more black or dark opacity, and then for that is for the collections page, and for the article pages there is no color. Like it's just the grid that slowly blends in with the dark background, and that is the approach that you're taking, that the landing page has the brand color and it's bright, and so, and as we are going to subsequent pages, as we're going from collections to articles to profile, the color is going to be reducing.
Yeah. In fact, when we did start out, the OG whiteboard.fm listeners will know this, such as Chetan. When we first started out, all of our thumbnails, if you scroll to the very bottom of our YouTube today, you won't find this. But early on, every single thumbnail for season 1 was blue in color. Every single thumbnail for season 2 was purple in color. And then we were going to go that way. Season 3 green, season 4 maroon, season 5 something else. But then what exactly happened was, Mayank, if you can scroll to the IGTV or maybe the Instagram screenshots for our clips, the mock-up, sorry. The season 1, not these, bro, the season 1 thumbnails for Instagram.
Got it. This file is getting heavy.
So if you see the season 1 thumbnails, they were all blue.
Blue.
And what you can see here is there's a lot of monotony. Every single element other than the image looks almost exactly the same. So that's when we decided, hey, instead of us putting this color, which is, hey, it's all going to be blue or all going to be purple, we decided to change this based on the person we're interviewing. So if you'll go to whiteboard.fm, the YouTube channel right now, in fact, if you're on your phone or your computer, you can just open the channel right now, go to the videos tab. You'll see that it's a mix of colors now. And I think in general, this works a lot better. So for the website, we're going to keep the background brand color very, very minimal, as minimal as possible, just so that the individual content items can stand out as much as possible.
Correct. And it do, like once you come to the articles page or the profile page, like there's no other color that stands out, because there is no other color. There's only the thumbnail color or the company color pertaining to that guest that stands out, which is how we've created that distinction between Whiteboard as the brand color, as the platform, and then all the other guests and content that we have.
Yeah. But I think it's very interesting how our purple sort of starts with this brand, and then it goes to halfway opacity, and then it goes to almost completely black. It's an interesting
I like that.
way of going into the...
I was trying things out, and then I was like, hey, this is nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the concept. Okay, folks, so we're here for about 5 more minutes. We're close to the end of this live stream. Any other thoughts? Any other questions that you might want to ask?
Bro, let's drop the value bomb.
What value bomb?
What we were discussing, bro.
What were we discussing? I don't know.
That what are we up to, bro? What's happening next? What's the other thing that you have in mind that you're going to be that's going to start soon?
Okay. So let's talk about next steps in general. We're here on this third session. This has been overall the design process. Beyond this, we're going to get a lot into Webflow. And I don't think that's the kind of thing that works well on a live stream. We might show you in the next episode a little bit of it, how the Webflow development is going. And, maybe compare the designs versus development and talk about some of those nuances. But yeah, that's the next project. I think we're quite close to launch. What we will do is I think we launch probably the newsletter first.
Yeah.
In fact, maybe we should have done it already before this live stream, but next live stream, we'll have the newsletter link ready. So all the OGs watching right now, you guys can sign up for the newsletter. But we're close to launch. Besides that, another interesting thing that's happening is the other YouTube channel, which is my YouTube channel, is coming back. Right now, the main thing there is the free design crash course. If you haven't already, I think you probably have. You can still check that out. But there's a bunch of new videos coming up. So that is something that we're doing. We've created a new... I won't talk too much about the system, but we have some new video initiatives planned, which is Whiteboard Live, for example, was an experiment that we started. And today, we're on our 11th episode. We've been doing this consistently. And it's going to go on for a little bit longer till a new experiment takes up our time.
Yep.
But I think we are ready to now start putting in a little bit more on the other channel. So within the next couple of weeks, you're going to see a lot more videos there. So I'm excited to bring that back.
That's great, man. Also, along those lines, I've also been thinking that while we were doing all these walkthroughs and also showing our design process and how for the past 3 live streams, I'm thinking that after this, I'll also be writing a case study or create a Loom video that explains all of this, and then we can use that as well. So for all those who want access to the Loom video, probably, if I decide to do it, you have to subscribe to the newsletter, because that is going to be a part of the exclusive content. And the case study, I'll probably make it live.
Another thing I want to do, let's see if we can get this going in the chat right now, is chat. Can we peer pressure Mayank into starting a YouTube channel? Mayank, you're saying you want to write the case study, which is great. We can do it on Medium. If you're thinking about Loom, we might as well go a little bit to the next step. Start a new YouTube channel. Of course, this is the first time I'm putting you on the spot. This is something that's unscripted. I just literally put this on Mayank right now.
I'm not expecting this.
Yeah. Can we peer pressure Mayank to start a channel? Come on, guys. I want to see some comments right now.
Yeah. How has Mayank not started a channel yet? Man, because like the process of creating Whiteboard itself was such a huge learning curve. Like I'm still processing that and using the learnings from these into creating a YouTube channel separately, another YouTube channel. Yeah, like, okay, like I'll discuss this with Abhinav a bit more, but yeah.
I think what we can do is let's maybe start with an Instagram account. So your Instagram account right now has been a little inactive. But I think maybe if you want to just start with videos in general, let's start putting more videos on your Instagram.
Yeah, let's do that. Actually, I'm right now very I'm super into I don't know, I'm nervous and all because I was not expecting this. Like YouTube or Instagram, now I've reached a point where Whiteboard has become that comfort space for something like, okay, I know I can experiment around. There's no hesitation, but okay, like that sudden that, okay, let's start with a separate YouTube channel or Instagram of your own. I'm like, oh, okay. Like,
I think maybe let's take it slow. Let's figure out what our prototypes, what our experiments are going to be around it. But we can definitely start with Instagram and IGTV.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's move this peer pressure to Instagram. Chat used peer pressure. It was super effective. Let's move some of this peer pressure to Mayank's Instagram. You see this right here. I want you to. I'm gonna actually spam you, Mayank. I want you to open this and send Mayank a DM saying, send Mayank a DM saying when are the IGTV videos coming up? And you know, I think instead of letting the peer pressure end in this video, let's just keep it going.
Man, let's see. Like, let's see. Like, IGTV or YouTube, whatever it is. Let's see. Like, I'm excited. My major reason for getting a bit shaken up is not about actually creating the videos, but the planning behind it. Like, what is it going to be? How are we going to go ahead? It's because that's the main thing. From my biggest learning from Whiteboard has been that it's not about creating the content and doing all the things after it is important, but the biggest part of it is all the planning that has happened before we released our first episode. That was with Ansh.
True.
So,
Definitely. I think it's like what you see here is the tip of the iceberg.
exactly.
But the things that go behind, creating content on a consistent basis, figuring out ideas and things like that, there's a big iceberg under the surface. But hopefully, in the next Whiteboard live session, which is next Thursday, we'll bring this up again. Chat, make sure I don't forget it as well.
Dude,
Make
it's
sure you bring
already
it up in the chat.
people are DMing me.
You're getting DMs? So make sure you keep reminding us. We'll see you soon. This has been a fun episode. Mayank, any final words?
So it was great, guys. Thanks for the motivation and for dropping the bomb. And like, don't get upset. Like, if the initial days is like where I focus on the Whiteboard website, because my first goal right now is to get this thing live and to launch it. And after that, let's see how it goes.
Awesome. So keep DMing Mayank, and we'll see you next Thursday. See you all. Good night. Bye bye.
Bye bye.